everyone. Welcome to the Money Maverick podcast, where we expose the fallacies of traditional financial advice. I'm Tim Turley, the host of the Money Maverick show, and we're coming to you live from the Silicon Slopes studios in Lehi, Utah today. We're grateful for Silicon Slopes, by the way, for doing this, and the amazing producer and editor Dave here does a great job. We have a great guest today. He has a really cool and unique business niche that I want you to hear about today. But before we want to get further into meeting Michael, I want to let you know again how you can learn more about true financial principles and how you can get a hold of us. Our toll-free number is 888-881-4445, and you can visit our website to learn about the foundation of what we teach people across the country at uniqueadvantage.biz. Well, so excited to have Michael North with us today. You know, sometimes you meet people and you just wonder, where did I meet this guy before? Or I know that guy. Michael North, you're one of those people, so welcome to the show.
Well, I appreciate that, because as we were visiting, I was like, man, we are cut out of the same cloth, because especially when you introduced that you had taught some classes at BYU, Idaho, and I've also spent 7 going on 8 years in the classroom teaching entrepreneurship and business, and so I was like, wait a minute, we are cut from the same cloth. How did this happen?
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here. A little bit of background, you're from the state of Utah. You've lived in a couple other states, but what's coolest of all is you got your master's degree. You got your MBA in the United Kingdom. Is that correct?
Yeah. Had a unique opportunity to do study abroad. At that time, I realized that education is far beyond what you gain within 4 white walls, and I realized that there's a big world out there. Had the opportunity, jumped on it to do the study abroad program. Moved to a town called Cirencester in England. It's about an hour about southeast of London, and was able to spend the time there to work on an MBA. What a unique opportunity. It was wonderful.
That's really cool. We work with a lot of business owners, mostly small business owners, and we're always looking for ways to give them an advantage, whether it's in their revenues, their expenses, their protecting themselves, liability issues, improving their bottom line, so to speak. All those things that we can help them with, not just on a personal level, but on a business level. And I think the reality is, and you and I are small business owners ourselves.
Right.
We're usually very passionate about what we do, especially when it comes to teaching people about financial principles. I would say a good chunk of small business owners, they're so involved and so passionate about their business that they don't pay attention to the little things. And today we're going to talk about some of those little things that could end up being big things, and that's their expenses.
Yep.
Business owners want to run their business.
Right.
If you're a plumber, the plumber wants to go and fix stuff.
Yep.
He doesn't want to do the research to figure out which cell phone service is the best for him, or some subscription he's using, or a bookkeeping service. Whatever it is, that's not what they want to do.
Exactly. Especially they spend years, right? Talk about the medical field, right? How many years are you're invested in becoming a practitioner and becoming an expert in what you do? And you don't want to spend a lot of time figuring out what phone service and e-signature service and an office supply. You didn't go to school to be the expert in that. And it's best when you're in business to focus on those skills, those attributes, those things that you've spent so much time studying and learning and becoming an expert in. So you can focus on those things And that's why there are available services out there to take care of all those other things. To give it like a cost or a little comparison.
But let's talk about that a little. Let's back up a little.
Yeah.
Before we get into the weeds, let me tell our listeners, who we are very grateful for. Let me introduce your company that you own. You're a franchise owner.
Yeah.
The company's name, which is a fantastic name. I mean, I don't know how this name can't grab your attention. Schooley Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Schooley. And when you first told me this is the company you worked for many months ago, I thought, that sounds like a cool charter school.
Right. Where are you going to school? That's where you get your education, because it's Schooley.
Yeah. That's what the kindergartners call their class or something, right?
Yeah.
But that's definitely not what it is. And so what I wanted to do is read some bullet points on what you do, and as the owner of the franchise in Utah, but you can service people anywhere. It's not just Utah, right?
Yep,
But
that's correct.
But I want our listeners to know what you do, because it's so unique and it's so valuable. We don't hear about this kind of a service. So
it's very underserved.
So let's talk in a little more detail about what you can do for a business owner. So for our listeners, whether you're the business owner yourself, whether you're a partner, whether you're part of the C-suite of a small business, maybe up to, there's no limit really, but let's say you've got 50, 100, 200 employees, whatever it is.
A business with expenses, that's who we take care of.
Exactly. Okay. So here's what you do. You analyze clients' expenses across several cost categories to determine whether they are overspending and if cost-saving solutions can be found. So let me just take these one at a time.
Yeah.
Of all the people and businesses that you come across and you start talking to the owners, again, maybe it's the CFO or the controller, how many are overspending?
So we find, and to make that easy, let's start out, make that really easy. So the first thing we do is we do an audit of an expense category. Take, for instance, very simply, telecommunications, right? Your phone, your internet. We do an audit to check for billing errors, and quite often we find billing errors. And so to answer your question specifically, on average, we're able to find 28% savings on average across the board.
That's amazing. And what's the highest you've ever come across, percentage-wise?
Percentage-wise, the highest, I've seen it upwards to 60%.
Wow. And they don't even know it.
And right. And I'll give you some more specific examples here in a little bit. I'm going to talk about a case scenario that I'm working on right now that has to do with e-signature that is far surpassed 50% savings.
Wow. Yeah. And of course, so many of us are using e-signatures for a lot of things right now.
Absolutely.
Especially since post-COVID.
Yeah.
Our office is at home, much of the time. By the way, what's a billing error that you come across frequently in telecommunications?
Well, it's pretty simple, right? You hire someone. When you hire them, you need to get them a phone hookup. Mm-hmm. You're probably paying for some kind of software as a service or SaaS. So you have them a Microsoft license, you have a computer license that you're paying for, maybe an Adobe license, and you have maybe space for them. And then that employee leaves. And hopefully all of that stuff that you're paying for also got turned off.
But the owners forget.
But many times when you're dealing with 50, 60, 70 different lines, there's some oversight there often, right? And it's not really this person, that person. You can point fingers all over the place. That's just one simple scenario of just an oversight and something that we can pick up on, though, and say, right now you're paying for 55 different phone lines. And then you look at, the company looks at it and says, well, why are we paying for 55 phone lines? We only have 48 people.
Nobody knows.
And Yeah.
So that's a good example. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get into more case specific stuff when we get there. The next thing that you do for businesses is you do the research, right, of their expenses or a specific category or their expenses, and then you present your findings of the audit and the research that your team does, right?
Correct.
And you present it to the client. And if the business owner says, which I imagine they're probably usually surprised, like they had no idea they were overspending on all these categories, right? So if they choose to move forward, they don't have to do the work themselves. You actually are the point of contact to implement some of these changes with the carriers or the subscription services, whatever it is, right? So that's a big benefit to the business owners that you're the point of contact.
Yeah, absolutely. We could jump in right here and just talk about time, right? There's only so much time in a day, especially when you're trying to run your company. And the focus should be, again, going back to our example of the plumber, right? The plumber should be focused on fixing pipes, let's save them some time, not spending time on the phone, on customer service, trying to figure out what's going on with my garbage service or my office supplies or my, e-signature. And so time is a big value that we give here because we're able to take over, or not really take over, but help with the process of going through that, providing that information. We are completely objective, meaning we don't have any of the products. And so we don't have a horse in the race, so to speak. And so we can provide the numbers, we can provide the data and the information to make good decisions. And we're completely objective, and the company is able to pick what's best for them.
And human nature, right, Michael? You can do the research and present findings to a business owner.
Yeah.
But if that's all you did, they're not going to take the time to actually implement what you found.
Right.
So that's the nature of, again, we talked about we're busy in our businesses.
Yeah.
Right. We're in the weeds.
Yeah.
But you provide that service to help them, assist them, and take over as much as that is possible so they can actually implement. Otherwise, what good does it do?
Exactly. We have relationships with thousands of vendors, and we're dealing with the managers of those different vendors. We have direct contact with those, so we're able to implement any kind of adjustments, changes that are needed, and then we continue to monitor. And so every quarter, the customer receives a value report on showing that their expenses are fully optimized and that they're paying for what they need. They are not paying for services that they're not using, and that they currently have the best for what they need, and they're not overpaying for services that they don't need.
Yeah, what a great niche. I mean, I just don't think business owners even know there's a service like this, which is why we're having you on. Let me ask you a question. So if I'm a business owner, or I'm a CFO or a controller listening to the show right now,
yeah,
I've probably already thought about this, but let's just bring it up. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, what does this cost?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, I think about that.
Yeah.
Right? So this service sounds great. But what's the catch? Now, what's the catch? What's the catch?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when normally when there's service providers like you that do things like this, it's a fee.
Yes.
Right. It's a flat fee. It's a maintenance fee. It's an initial research fee, or R&D kind of a thing. In your case, it's completely different, which is really cool. So let's just tell the audience how cool your compensation structure is.
It's awesome because there's no risk to the company because I get paid out of the savings. And so if I find the savings, then I get paid from those savings. There's a negotiation, usually a 50-50 split. And so a company, we do an audit, say on their linens and their uniforms, and on their their uniforms, we're able to find them $500 per month in savings. They get to put $250 of that in their pocket. I get paid the $250 out of that, and so there's always a net gain to the company, always.
Which goes back to the point, what's your motivation and incentive? It's because you don't get paid either unless you find savings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a win-win. The nice thing is, and the reason why I'm here and why I'm passionate about this. One, I grew up and I was always taught to be very frugal. So I'm a little bit of a tightwad. I've always been pretty tight on the expenses. And so it fit me very well. And also, like you've mentioned, the service, when I was first introduced to the service here a little over a year ago, I said, slam dunk, this is an area that is very underserved, that everyone, for the most part, in a company is required to do it themselves. They're spending time on the phone. They're spending time on the internet, trying to do research, with very, very limited knowledge as to what is out there and what different options are available. And we're able to really open up that window at no cost. And we're always going to put more money back in the company.
I don't know why any business wouldn't want to talk to you, at least to have a consultation. It
Right.
doesn't cost them anything.
Nope, it does not.
They might have to put together some expense statements or some subscription statements about the service they have, but that's the extent of their initial work, right?
Yeah, and usually we can within 40 minutes, maybe an hour, be able to go through a cost category that they have some currently are feeling some pain, and we're able to take a look at that, and then we take over on our end and set up some subsequent meetings to deliver our findings for them.
So on average, it obviously depends on the expense category and the size of the business, but on average, how long does it take your team to produce findings?
Usually 4 to 6 weeks. So just say a couple of months is usually what an audit entails.
Because it's not just what you found, it's alternatives for lower cost, for the savings.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So again, basically to understand it very, very simply, we audit and look for errors. We make sure that the company is not paying for things they don't need. And finally, we know, because we do this every day, all day, we know what you should be paying. We know what different options are available out there, and we're going to deliver those findings to you completely objective because we want the best for the customer.
That is so great. If you were to name the 10, maybe 10's too many, but if you were to name 5 or 10 of the most common categories that you're saving of business money, what would you just rattle off of categories, expense categories?
So the initial one that the founder, Dennis Schooley, he's a CPA. Initially, he started out mainly with telecom. But other categories that shipping, there's shipping can be a very big cost, especially for like manufacturers. That's substantial. If you're in areas of trucking or have a lot of cars on the road, there's fuel. There's electronic logging devices that we're able to find substantial savings for. Garbage and waste service, and that includes like shredding or medical waste. We're able to take a look at those and find substantial savings. And
subscription.
Yes,
like software subscriptions.
Yeah, that area as well. And it depends. It varies by industry. Of course, if you have an industry with a lot of waste, usually there's a little bit more wiggle room and maybe some oversight that where people are not seeing possible savings.
I just think that's so great. So let's do a case scenario of what you alluded to, a client you're working with right now. Let's talk about what you're finding or what you can say for the listeners, and then we'll wrap up. We want a Maverick tip of the day.
Yeah.
You're definitely a Maverick with what you do, and so we'll just really quick tip at the very end of what business owner can maybe do, which, in my opinion, it's call you, but and we'll give you your information to the listeners so they can contact you. But
For sure.
let's do the case scenario for what's this client you're working with right now? What's that all about?
Yeah. So I was visiting with a gal that owns a countertop and cabinetry business, and as we were talking, we discussed. I just asked the question, what's going on in your business right now, and what's causing pain? And she mentioned that she was having a hard time getting paid, that some of her invoices were out like 60 days, 90 days, and she had hundreds of thousands of dollars out on the table. And she was like, I could do so much more with my company.
Let me stop you right there. With businesses and with what we teach the same to our clients, the most important thing in financial planning as well as business is cash flow.
Yeah.
And when she's not getting her invoices paid 60, 90 days out, cash flow is the lifeblood of a small business, especially.
Yeah.
So that I can see her pain. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, as I was visiting with her a little more in detail, I realized that it wasn't so much of her getting paid. She needed to make it a little easier to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And so stuff was getting lost in the mail. And so we discussed a couple of different ways to change how she was doing her billing to make it easier for the customer and easier for her to get paid. And so we talked about e-signature. And of course, when I talk about e-signature, what's the first company that comes to mind to you?
DocuSign.
Right,
Right.
DocuSign. So we went through an analysis, and we gave her 4 different companies of cost comparison to what she needed. Now, she's small. There's only 5 employees there, and DocuSign would be a little over $1,500 a year. DocuSign actually didn't even come in the top 4 of being the best solution for her.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we gave her a couple of different scenarios of different companies to work with, and you probably haven't heard of any of them. So one of them was PandaDoc and AirSlate and Signable were in those categories for her, or different companies that would provide her great service and exactly what she needed for less than $700 a year, so half. And one of them was actually $300 a year. So compare that to
$1,500.
a DocuSign that's $1,500-$1,600. Now going back and answering your question as to how much can we save, that's upward to 70% off of paying for a DocuSign. Now, granted, DocuSign's a great company, and we recommend DocuSign a lot to a lot of different businesses. But
In her case.
yeah, in this case, not every company fits everything. And when you are a business owner, it's hard to know because you are limited to that Google search, or to the the online search, or to what we used to have as far as the yellow pages. The business owner is limited to what information is there, and it's actually very limiting, and a lot of times it's very biased on what the companies pay to have their advertising and have their SEO, their search engine optimization, be right there in front of you. We work with thousands of vendors that you probably don't hear of every day, and they have great services for many of our business owners right here in Utah,
Right.
and around the nation,
And the nation,
anyway.
right?
Yeah, anywhere.
That's really awesome. Well, that's such a great service, and I hope that people are listening. Either whether you're the business owner, somebody that's a business owner, or an executive, you should give Michael a call, Before we get up your information and how people can get a hold of you, Michael, if you were to have one, this is the Maverick tip of the week, right? If you were to have one tip that a business owner can implement, right away, of course, I think the number one is to give you a call. But beyond that, what is something that they can take away right now and maybe look at or implement?
Well, this one's, first of all, this is just very broad. It's not specific to cost reduction of your monthly expenses. It's just to take a look at what you're doing. And I always try to say, work on your business. Don't work in your business. How many of us are doing that? And how much time are we spending doing that? When was the last time you were able to kind of step outside of your business and be able to look on the overreaching and see how your business is functioning? Because a lot of times when you're working in your business, okay, that's meaning you're the electrician and day to day you're the one that's doing the wiring.
Yeah, you're wearing all the hats.
Yeah, and so it's very difficult to be able to step outside of yourself, step outside and look at what's working and what's not working. So that's my Maverick tip of the day, is work on your business and spend less time working in your business.
Great tip. I love that. Before we sign off today, Michael, tell us how people can get a hold of you, the best way, contact information, so they can get a consultation.
Absolutely. So SchooleyMitchell.com and then /MNORTH, M North, just like north, south, east, west. So my first initial is M for Mike, and then North. And Schooley Mitchell is spelled just like school with an L-E-Y at the end. Mitchell does have two L's, so SchooleyMitchell.com/MNorth takes you directly to my page. Now, if you go to SchooleyMitchell.com, it does have a place there where it lists all of the offices that are available across the nation, over 300 different offices available. And they can, that's a quick and easy way to
get a hold of you.
Click on my web. Yeah, right on that web page, there's a place where they can send me a quick message and set up a consultation with me.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
And I hope people do. It's a great service. Thank you so much for coming on the Money Maverick podcast today, Michael North with Schooley Mitchell. And if you have any questions or you can't remember what we said today, you want to get a hold of Michael, reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with him. Thank you again for being on the show today. Thanks to our listeners. I hope they can make some changes because of what we heard today. Hope you all have a great day.
If anybody is more of a phone person, let's throw out the phone number there. The phone number is 385-339-0008. And I appreciate being on the show. This is so cool. It's so cool to be in Silicon Slopes. It's great to be on the Money Maverick show. What a great service you provide.
Thank you, Michael. Everybody have a great day.